Hello, this is Kate. Welcome to In the Studio with Kate. I believe this is week 8. This past week in the studio, as I sat down to do this video, I couldn't remember what I had been doing. So it's been one of those weeks. I've continued to work with these this fluid art. I think I showed this one last week, which was one I had started doing some of the patterning on, but I've done a few more. Hopefully I didn't show these already. I can't be honest, can't remember. And then there's this one, which I think I'm going to do a whole lot more on it. I don't know why that looks so bright, but it does. And I worked on this one a little bit more today. They're really a whole lot of fun to work with. So a little bit on the fluid art. I've been doing watercolor all week, and those were all in my blog post yesterday, so I won't show those again. But one of the things I've learned that I really wanted to do is to have a sidekick for watercolor. So, and what I mean by that is I bought one of the visual journals by Strathmore in watercolor. The covers usually look like that. I take the cover out, and then, of course, I have to decorate the ugly brown cover because it's just ugly. This is what it normally, well, there's paint on it. Normally sort of looks like that. So I just painted the cover, the cover blue. But I'm going to be using this as I'm doing watercolor. It's just to test things out, test colors out or things out before I actually commit them to the piece that I'm working on. So this is just a simple, tiny watercolor journal. I think that's going to really work great. I'm just writing on here that it's the watercolor sidekick, so it doesn't get used for something else. The other thing that I've worked on this week is Twelvty, the class on color, is now doing orange for November. And so I started working with some of the oranges I have. And this is the first page I did. First I did a really orange background, and then I drew those leaves, and then the person appeared and the moon, and she actually has a thread that she's holding that connects directly to the moon. Can't see it real well, but after I added her in, and she's all oil pastel, I needed a little bit of blue in the page to tie the two pages together, so I just added blue to those leaves. So I really like the way this one turned out. The next one is just in the beginning stages, something I put down to earlier today. So it's definitely a work in progress. And they're just 2 orange pages. This background was the dark orange, and this background was the light orange, but I used stencils on both of them and used the opposite color to make that come out. So they're kind of fun beginnings to some backgrounds right now. More will happen to them later probably tomorrow or the next day. I did go to a gathering to work on the Soul Book. I really didn't do a whole lot, but add paper. I have different papers to the pages that I'm going to work on, so I'll just share those. Like, this is some painted paper, and this is some matte paper. These are just pretty papers that I put down. As you can see, my thing is very watery. This is just a scrap. I need to collage some more papers on this particular page. This one, I really like the hand on it, and then a friend gave me the blingy K. This is a piece of washi tape, which I thought looked pretty cool. And then this is a piece of fabric with a raven on it. So ravens are big for me. And this is just scrapbook paper. I thought that the house and the gate, that would make a neat background for a page. This one, I have made like a little tipping thing. So it's just taped down. And so I plan on putting something behind there and then have that cover up. Maybe something about a dream. Here, these are just little decals that came from some paper that have been glued down. Let's see. This is a page that I really did a really long time ago. So it was I had to put it down in 2 pieces. I like the depth of how it looks, how you feel like you could really crawl into that space. And then there's some washi tape by Jane Davenport. They're mermaids that I put down. And then it felt like my book's getting thick already. I already got anything in it. So I decided I would paint the next pages. So let's just paint a couple different shades of turquoise for that page. And those are the last pages for the Soul Book so far. I haven't really had too much time to actually work on that this week. So hopefully next week. I haven't even gotten to any of the paintings that I wanted to work on. I'm doing a lot of stuff with in my peer mentor role for Ignite that has to be done this week. So that's taken a bit of my time. As to probably what's next week, probably continuing with work in the Soul Book, probably the Twelvty pages. Hopefully some paintings will get some time put in on them. Some weeks are like that in the studio, and some weeks seem very productive. This didn't seem so much. Probably also my husband's been gone, so I had to do all his chores as well as my own. So sometimes it just seems like that's what happens when you're working on your art. Sometimes you get lots of time to do things, sometimes not so much, and sometimes you wonder, what did you do all week? You know you were doing something, but you can't remember what it was. In my case, the art every day month does take a little bit of my time up, and but it's rewarding. I'm learning more about watercolor. I've had days where I've hated watercolor intensely, but I have a friend who's actually helping me with it. One thing that has resulted is I decided I wasn't going to use student grade materials anymore, so I'm giving away my watercolor sets to some friends and just keeping the high quality materials. So it's sometimes I feel like it's, if you use the right materials, you're going to come out with a better product than working with, something that's substandard. You're fighting against yourself quite often. So that's about it for this week in the studio. Until next week, I hope you're getting into your studio and actually getting to do some work. If you are, I would love to hear about what you're making or what you're creating. And if you are not, I hope this encourages you to get into your studio. So I will see you next week, same time, same place. Bye.